Hello, and welcome to the Forward Show. My name is CJ Monaghan. I am your host. And in this episode, I'm joined by three people doing some real work within the industry. Mason McClintock is a soul pop songwriter based here in Nashville, originally out of Georgia. He sits down with Kemp and Lizzie Maranto, both of whom are with ECCHO Live, an organization built to support the mental health of touring and live event professionals. Mason plays two original songs for us live in the room. And we take the songs apart together, the meaning behind them, the moments that inspired them, and what it took to write them. This conversation really focuses in on identity, inherited pain, resentment, and what it really means to be seen. So let's get into it. Here's Cara, Lizzie, and Mason introducing themselves. Introduction. So
Yes.
if we want to start from Cara all the way down to Mason, if you want to lead the charge, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do, and kind of why you're here.
So I'm Kara Kemp. I serve as the part-time general manager for ECCHO Live, and I'm also part-time. I have a business for coaching creatives to think more linearly, but I also coach linear thinkers to think creatively. And then in my free spare time, I am a storyteller and produce a storytelling multi-genre art stage.
Wow.
Do you want me to tell you about ECCHO
Please
Live?
do, because that sounds intriguing enough as it is. Yeah, just break it up a little bit.
All
What's
right. So, ECCHO Live is an acronym. We are a nonprofit that's based here in Nashville that was founded in 2011 as a one-off workshop, which was called Touring Career Workshop. It was founded by a guy named Chris Lyle, who is in the business 35 years this past month, who is a lighting designer. And he saw the gap of wanting to bring people together in a room to have conversations similar to what we're doing here. And it has grown and expanded and evolved because the gaps, they started to just address people connecting, and then they noticed the mental health piece, which was missing, and they wanted to make sure that people had access to it. So in 2014, they started just paying for mental health support for people to get them in and have these conversations. And then it has expanded in the last few years, which is where Lizzie comes in, where we go on site to festivals. But we do things year round now. We're at All Access on Site goes into festivals. We have day off and networking, connects, and meetups. We still do the fall workshop. And mostly if we can start one conversation about how we can be healthier in this industry, then we feel like we've done a good job. And then personally, how I show up, I had 15 years as a crew chief for a catering company called Dega Catering, where I was out on the roads. And, my very first tour was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. So maybe you've heard of them.
Yeah, a little known artist.
Little known artist.
Mhm.
And then went on with Bob Dylan and Neil Young and Jack Johnson and ended up in country music. My last tour was Keith Urban. So I was just thrown into the deep end of what this world is all about. And then became a coach and have always had this performance piece. So that is a very long story of how I got invited into this room today.
The good news is we have time. So the long story is long. Please.
I will.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
much. Yeah.
What about the storytelling side?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All
like, I
right.
wanna
Thank
know
you.
more.
Yeah.
All right.
Tell the story about storytelling.
Tell the story about storytelling. So I began in this world as a theater person, as a performer and a director. And I went to LA, tried my hand at it, got broken and beaten down and ran away from it, but returned to it, to storytelling. And I found my way back in. But I have always been a multi-genre artist. I was a visual artist in the very first stages and then started building stages. So when I returned to storytelling, I wanted to create a place that was immersive in visual art and music and poetry and storytelling. So I produce a stage called the Bloom Stage, which is that scary moment right when a flower has to either evolve into something or die, right?
Sure.
Do or die.
Do or die. And so we call it the Bloom Stage because there's a lot of new voices that get to mix with veteran voices, but it's we project 285 degrees on the wall so an artist can visually have this immersive experience.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And then it's a great listening room for musicians to come, and people actually listen to what, in fact, it throws a lot of people off because they're like, whoa, people are
It's
listening
really
to my
quiet. Yeah,
lyrics.
yeah.
What?
Mhm.
And then we weave in storytelling and poetry, sometimes dance. It just depends on who shows up and how they want to tell their theme. So,
Amazing.
ta-da.
I love
Yeah,
that.
That's
Thanks.
awesome.
It is
I want to go
awesome.
there. I want to do that.
Please do. Always.
That's what this is about.
I,
amazing.
I'm glad.
I
See?
give you a theme, and then you just whatever your interpretation is. So
Okay.
the last one was the art of unburdening.
Oof.
Oh, wow.
The next one is golden hour.
Ooh.
So it's a Valentine's show was once a defibrillator. So so
Love.
they can
Oh my
be a
God.
little bit
Okay.
kooky.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. No. Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
that's what it's about.
Okay.
Stage is yours. This blooming stage is yours.
Oh, ooh, so
Mm.
exciting. I'm Lizzie Maranto. So full-time therapist, supervisor. I run social media over at Sage Therapy up in the Chicagoland area. I live in the suburbs, though, obviously, as we were talking earlier.
Mhm.
Got to make that distinction. People from Chicago are very passionate about
They
being
are.
from
Right.
Chicago,
Indeed,
obviously.
they are.
Um, and then I'm also part-time manager, program manager for ECCHO Live. And so I do a lot with our all access programming, which we have a section of it called All Access on Site, where we bring counseling and coaching services backstage at different festivals and live events to provide counseling and coaching to the cast and crew and anybody who's working the festival and making it happen. So we were just at CMA Fest this past weekend. I'll be at Bonnaroo this upcoming weekend. Lots of spaces throughout the summer months and into all the way through October and whatnot. But we have all access programming outside of being on site where we provide 4 free sessions to folks every year for mental health counseling or coaching, as well as financial advocacy and stuff. So they can meet with a financial advisor in order to get help with budgeting or help with figuring out how to manage their finances in a very hectic world of getting paid a large sum of money and then being like, oh my God, what do I do with this?
Right.
For sure.
But so I meet with and vet with all of our providers and whatnot to make sure that they're understanding of what the industry is like and truly want to be there to help out navigating this wild world, and especially with the struggles that come with being in live events and things like that.
Totally.
Love.
And then
Yeah.
outside of work life, I'm a dancer. As I mentioned earlier, I perform with a company called Outlet. So up in the Chicagoland area, we have 3 different branches, and it's super fun. We have a show in, I think, end of August at Harper College. Come
Ooh.
see us. It'll be
Chicagoland
super
folks.
fun.
Yeah, make a note. Yeah, yeah.
Road trip.
Love.
And then I like to do all artsy things. I love to paint. I love to create. I love to just roll around in some dirt and be in nature as well. So lots of love some hiking. Love some sitting in
So good.
some grass and contemplating life. But yeah.
Yeah. I like
That's
that.
awesome.
Amazing. Mason,
Mason.
floor is yours.
Is it-
Who are you? Why are you here?
Who am I? I'm still trying to figure that out.
That's a great question. Actually, that's part of why we do this. Yep.
Yes. Well, my name is Mason McClintock. I am a singer, songwriter, artist of all sorts. And I'm based here in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm originally from a really small town in southeast Georgia called Alma. It's like a super rural, one of the most like remote sort of rural little corners of southeast Georgia. And I moved here almost 3 years ago after I graduated from the University of Georgia to pursue this insane dream of being a recording artist, singer-songwriter. And it has been the wildest ride. I have so enjoyed it. I feel like it took the first year and a half for me to kind of like get my footing. And now I feel like I'm actually more at home. Like I feel like I've developed a really solid community. I've discovered the places I like to go and hang out. Let's see. I'm also a server. That's what I do
Yeah.
to pay the bills right now.
Yep.
And just about anything else that I can get my hands on to help do that. But yeah, I love to draw. I love to doodle. Like that's my thing. I like to doodle. I don't. As soon as there's like an objective, I'm like lost. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not having fun anymore. I like to just like put my hands on the paper, on the markers and the crayons and the pens and pencils, and just like throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
But I love to swim. I love to cook. I like to. Recently, I've become a bit of a pool shark, so I've been playing billiards. I self-described. The other day, somebody told me that I was a sleeper pool
yeah.
shark, which was like honestly like a really good like compliment to me.
Yeah.
It was like because
You don't know you got it under the hood, ready to go. That's what I'm
exactly.
saying.
It's like I guess I don't give that, but when I pick up a stick, I know how to handle it.
Ew.
You heard that. But yeah, no, I mean, I started playing a couple months ago. My boyfriend and I, we've decided to try to get better at that. So we've been doing that. I like to party. I'm a party boy.
That's right.
I mean, to a fault at times. But I love to explore with like fashion and a little bit of makeup. But I feel like I've kind of like figured out my everyday kind of like little makeup look. But just enjoy pretty much all creative pursuits. I love to spend time with my sisters, and they're back home, but whenever I get the chance, I love to back home in South Georgia.
Yeah.
But when I get the chance, I love to spend time with them. I play around at mostly writers' rounds and small artist showcases right now. I play the guitar and the keys, but only really enough to like accompany myself. Like I'm proficient, but I don't consider myself like a guitarist or pianist by any means. But I can get the job done. And let's see, I play by myself right now, so it's just me and my keys, me and my guitar, maybe sometimes my ukulele. I just got a new keyboard, so I've been able. It's really fancy, so I'm able to like program it to be able to sort of like
Get the sounds.
yeah, to do all these
Opportunities.
fun, cool things. Yeah, so I can like actually do the one man band kind of thing.
Cool.
And that's really really fun. But I'm excited to begin playing with other musicians and start playing with a band. I just finished recording my upcoming single. I have
Yeah,
two
you did.
out. Yes,
Yeah, you
yes.
did.
I actually just got back what I think will be the final mix this morning.
That's exciting.
Oh
So
my God,
I'm really
that's so
excited.
exciting. This morning?
Yes,
That's exciting.
Shout out
It's
Justin.
perfect timing.
That's always the most
I
exciting
know.
thing.
I'm so excited. Like I listened to it on this like nice ass speaker at my boyfriend's place, and it's like one of those like booming speakers that like you can hear all
Yeah.
throughout.
Every
Like
single thing.
you can damn near hear it
You
across
feel
the
it?
street.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, and it was super exciting. So that's coming out soon. And yeah, that's me.
What was the name of that song one more time?
It's called "What You're Missing."
What You're Missing.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Ooh.
I'm looking
Yes,
forward
yes,
to it.
yes.
It's always nice when you see that email or that text come through. It just looks like whatever revision it is, and it says final, and you're just like, there it is.
Oh my God, it's happening. It's happening.
Yes, I know.
Heart's doing this. Like,
It's-
is it going to sound good? Are people going to like this? It's not even out yet, but you know,
I know.
yeah.
I think that because I want to listen to it,
Yes.
I like I go back and listen to it. You know what I mean? Because I want to, and I enjoy it, and I love it. And so I think that makes me feel a little less like of the pressure for other people to like be obsessed with it. Obviously, like I want people to like it,
Of
but
course.
Right.
Yeah.
it's a song that I want to listen to myself. So
Yeah.
that's how I know I'm like
That's all
it's
that.
good enough for me. Yeah.
That old that
important.
Rick Rubin thing was like the audience comes last. It's like it has to feel good to you
Right.
first.
Yeah.
And then if people like it themselves, that's up to
Right.
them. They don't like it, so
Yeah.
be it.
Because you got to be proud of what you're producing. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the whole part of being in
Yeah.
creative spaces.
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's hard enough to do it, to create it, to think about it, to go vulnerably into putting it forth into the world.
Mhm.
So you have to have that kind of burning underneath of like, do I even want to play in this playground?
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, then what's the point?
Yeah.
We need to
Right.
do something different.
Yeah.
The burning desire to, like you said, to offer yourself up or whatever you've seen or whatever you've, felt or experienced. And then it's just like, okay, well now I need to pay money to go into a studio and then I need to show them first and
Right.
gauge that. And as soon as you get those kind of like, whether it's the engineer or producer, if you're not producing yourself or even other musicians playing on it, like you're showing them and they're just looking at you going, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. You're just like, it's just cool. Is that it?
Right.
Is that it? Like,
But I'm
tell me
jazzed.
more. But then
Right.
but then somebody will hype you up. Somebody will get that first statement somewhere along the line where they're just like they'll pick out something specific, or they'll go like this or that sound or that lyric or that whatever maybe, and they'll grab something specific and you go, you listened, you really
Right.
listened. Like it's such
Yes.
a privileging moment. But actually, kind of, if you don't mind, just kind of reverse a little bit onto the writers round thing. Because I've I guess in the introductions of this podcast and things like that, I've wax lyrical about writers' rounds, and it was genuinely the birthplace of what you're looking at here as a podcast, because Mason and I actually met on a writers' round.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were separated by somebody in the middle. I don't remember their name,
Mhm.
but it was like January, February. It was
Yeah, a couple months
outdoors.
ago.
It was cold, and it was just
Whoa.
kind of just doing it. And it was Distillery in Midtown here in
Yes.
Nashville, which is personally one of my favorite places to do around.
Yeah.
It was called the Get Up, which Jesse,
Yes.
I forgot.
Shout out to the
Jesse,
kid.
I'm yelling out your name, only your first name. I don't remember, but if you're listening, we love you for having that show in that round. And something that they do that's a little different to other rounds, and what I really appreciate was they do a small introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of those things where it's just like, hey, such and like you've got like 3 or 4 people on this round, and they'll say, coming up next is Mason, and CJ was like, Mason, who are you? Tell you, and we kind of do like the really short version of what we just did here, and they give you that kind of moment to assess how much you want to share, how much you don't want to share, and then it's up to you in between songs to explain
Right.
what's
More
coming
details,
next.
Yeah.
And I so many times, so many times, I've heard a song where I've stopped and I've gone like, I just want to, can we pause this whole show for a minute, and can we just talk about what just
Yeah.
happened?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't, there isn't that space, there isn't that room to do that, which is what this is about and it's what this is for. So sitting in that moment and hearing these songs, it's like, I appreciate what they did, which is take 10 seconds to just introduce everybody. How do you feel? What is this? Tell us more about yourself. Like, you never see that insight. It's a case of like somebody, no offense to other writers' rounds, operators, leaders, they, just set you up, plug you in, and say, hey, such and such buddy's on this round, away you go. It's up to you to do the heavy lifting at that point, share your art with the world and explain it. And there's a key piece of Nashville, which is if the song is written well enough, you shouldn't have to explain it. And I get that. That is true. However, one fragment of insight of where it came from
Yeah.
makes such a difference. And an earlier episode I posted about this is I was at a round, I wasn't even playing, and there was a military veteran who got on stage and he explained all of his songs. He kind of took a little bit too long for entertainment value
Right,
purposes, No one wants to head into a bar and be like told about these things, but sometimes from certain voices of authority, you kind of just sit for a minute, just listen, like, and pay attention while everybody's in between their sips of whatever they're drinking, And the context in his circumstances mattered so much in terms of talking about complex PTSD and obviously the things that he'd witnessed. He was a combat veteran, so had been, on tours, and it was rough. Like, it was really rough to hear the story and then just to hear it come out, and it broke up that meaning just a little bit more. So, I don't know how you feel about this, but in a way that exercising your demons through the song, but also allowing people that peep into the window as to like, here's where I was at in this moment. Like, have you kind of encountered that at all in your time in Nashville at all, or?
I personally, I feel like I find myself kind of sometimes yapping a little too much. Kind of like that too. So I'm like, who would do that? Like,
You're like,
who would-
"Oh,
Not me.
who would-
No,
yeah.
not me.
But I'm kind of like you. I really like to, when I'm like an audience member, I really appreciate getting to hear a little bit of the heart and the inspiration behind the song. And like you're saying, if it's a well enough written song, then it should pretty much explain itself or whatever. But I think that that's something that's so beautiful about songwriting, is that we're able to like package sometimes very specific messages in ways that can be interpreted in numerous ways.
Sure.
And
Right.
so being able to share a little bit about my experience as the writer of a song and writing the song and the stories that inspired it and the specific experiences that inspire it, I think that it can sometimes just help listeners maybe better like position themselves as like the subject of the song.
Yeah.
And it also can sometimes help to provide sometimes I guess like a sense of direction, or like help to help audience members even think about things that maybe they wouldn't
Mhm.
otherwise. And
Yeah.
so, not that it is necessarily my duty as a songwriter to interpret for listeners how they should, or to tell listeners how they should interpret my song, but
Right.
I think that it can sometimes help to provide insight that can be really valuable
Of course.
into the feelings and specific experiences
Totally.
that
Now,
inspire it.
from your guys' side, like, is there a something you've seen? Obviously, we've done larger tours and some of these larger artists and being on site at grounds and things like that. Is there something from, like, you'd say, like, we have our relative problems as these unknown, unsigned, or like smaller artists, independent artists, things like that? Is there kind of a relative perception of that at maybe higher levels, or things that you've seen, whether it be backstage, on stage, anything like that, like in that kind of same space of the what we share with the world and interpretation and that relative problem? Or
Yeah. I mean, I can say from getting to be in this world where I'm up close to these artists who then have these up and coming artists, right, that are opening up for them.
sure.
For example, there was a little known gal named Taylor Swift who
Never heard
opened
of
up
her.
on
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
But like I recalling watching who are now these megastars, but they would be the openers. And having that moment, because I was doing dressing rooms where they'd come off stage, and that moment of shining when they really connected with an audience. But you see that very thin like piece of vulnerability, of questioning whether they belong there, and then being able to be out there and then coming off and having that immediate sense of like I hit it. It was great. I was connecting with the audience. But you don't think that people are feeling 20 million emotions all at the same time, right? As someone who is taking in a show, you don't think that this person could also, while someone is interpreting the music and experiencing the music, that the person that is providing it is also feeling all of those emotions all at once and
Yeah.
carrying those things with them.
Totally.
So it is a powerful, impactful moment to watch those things kind of dance together, right? In
Totally.
the experience of it.
Absolutely.
It's like the
That's
both
really cool.
and concepts, because I think it just thinking as like a therapist, like so many emotions can exist at once, but so many people will often say like, oh, I'm just feeling this one thing. Like I'm only feeling angry. I'm only feeling sad, or I'm only feeling whatever emotion it is. But like part of being like growing within a therapeutic context is recognizing like the multidimension of emotions and being able to know that you're going to feel multiple things at all at the same time. And so even too within that concept of like somebody who's performing something, like you wrote this song specifically about this experience that you had, or about multiple experiences you had, these certain emotions, delivering it to somebody else and watching them experience it through your lyricism or through the musicality, and then being able to like have that like third almost concept of emotion come back at you, and like what it can feel like, depending on just more of the context of where you're at in your own life, but also where they're at. And I personally, like, I'm not a songwriter, I don't perform in that level, but getting to understand and hear musicians explanations for what they're writing about, like that's why I was so excited to be a part of this, because I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear this and hear what your stories are, like what prompted you to write certain things, because that to me as a therapist who's so curious about people's stories, that's why I went into this field. I love getting to know, but then also being able to apply it in different contexts. Like we all can probably name a song that might not match up to the artist's reason for writing it, but like
Right.
we can connect back to certain lyrics or certain like emotions that the melody will bring up for us that completely is unrelated to what their experience was. And
Totally.
that's the best thing about
Yeah.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I so agree. I started songwriting I started songwriting because I always wanted to be famous, but I didn't think I was a good enough singer to be able to just like be a singer. So I was like, let me like develop this other skill. And so then I started songwriting, and then it completely saved my life and changed my life.
Yeah.
Because what I was initially going to say is when I first started songwriting, it was kind of a way for me to process feelings and emotions that I couldn't safely express in my family and in my hometown. I'm queer. I am a gay boy, and I always have been. And I, when I first began coming to terms with that, I was, processing all these really like tumultuous uh, emotions and all these really, to me at the time, complex feelings. And there was no safe space for me to ever really express that with words, but I could kind of like tuck the feelings behind that experience into songs and almost like personify the struggle. Maybe I would be singing about, I'd write a song about like a love song or a heartbreak song in terms of like a couple, a romantic relationship, but I'd really be singing about myself or about maybe a future version of myself, or I would be able to like take these super difficult emotions to feel and these difficult like feelings that I had, that I struggled so much with, then that brought me so much pain, um, and turn them into tangible pieces of art that could be recreated and reproduced and sung over and over and over again. And I would be, singing about this like super painful experience or feeling that I had pent up inside, but I could sing about it, and it felt like I was like screaming my truth from the top of my from at the top of my lungs,
Yes.
And so kind of like whenever you were talking about like the both and thing, it's really cool because songwriting has saved me in the sense that I do it because I don't have any other choice. And when I have feelings that I genuinely don't know what to do with, when I'm able to like tuck it into a song and into something that I can then sort of like be proud of, it kind of gives purpose to the pain, and it it makes me, I guess, um it makes me think about how there is a reason for it.
Yeah.
And it has led me, all of the shitty things that I've ever experienced have led me to where I'm at now. And they've led me to some of the songs that I'm the most proud of and to the experiences that I get to enjoy in my life every single day. And I guess it's just like, I don't know, I'm kind of talking about a lot more than songwriting right now about how the shitty stuff leads you to
Is
where
it
you're
more than
at.
songwriting? Is it more
I mean,
like?
it
Is it
is
not
exactly.
it? Isn't that
It-
not
yeah.
it?
Creative process.
The true
Right.
meaning of art itself is of course.
And I'm
But
just so grateful.
yeah, on
For
that
that.
exact point, I think it's about time we hear a song.
Oh,
How
I'm
do we
so
feel
excited.
about
Yeah,
that?
let's do it.
Period.
Yeah, we're talking about amping up these songs and things that you've written, so I think it's about time we hear a song. But
Yeah.
so Mason, tell me all about this song. What is this song?
Alrighty, so this song is I don't think it's finished. It might be finished. Sometimes I feel like I need to add things to songs because of ideas in my head of like what a song structure should be or whatever. But like I'll probably add a bridge. But if there's no bridge right now. Anyways, it's a song that kind of just wrote itself. In 2019, I was probably walking out of a store and I just realized that I could run to my car because I can,
Yeah.
because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I did. And so I just wrote in my notes, I was just like, sometimes I run. Or sometimes I run just because I can, or something like that. And then my senior year of college, I was just kind of thinking about how so much of my life, and so much of what I thought about my life to be true just like wasn't anymore. And I felt there was just like something that had happened that made me feel like the rug had been pulled right out from under me. And so many things that I just believed to be true about the world were like caving in on themselves. And so this song, I wrote the first verse and chorus then, and then actually just a couple weeks ago, with my friend Maddie, shout out Maddie, she helped me write the second verse for it. And it sort of has taken on like an entirely different meaning for me now that I've written the second verse. And it's just about how I feel like I'm sometimes struggling through life. Like I don't really know what the hell is going on, really, ever. And so sometimes I just run. And sometimes I run away. And sometimes I want to hide. And sometimes I get really angry about all of the stuff that I was taught to believe about the world and how it's not true, so much of it, and how my believing that it was true for so long just made realizing that it wasn't so much harder. And so, yeah, this is Sometimes I Run. My mama's just a little girl who needs love too. All my life I thought my eyes told me the truth. I shut 'em tight and the sky turns all but blue. I used to think I knew what I should do. Then I woke up one day, everything had changed, and suddenly I needed change and Mary Jane to get away. Sometimes I run just because I can. Sometimes I'd love to make amends with the boy I knew back then. But sometimes I run. Once upon a time, bright-eyed, I was little boy blue. Now I'm getting high, extra dry, no vermouth. Remembering this is your first time too is the only thing keeping me from hating you. Sometimes I run, oh, just because I can. Sometimes I'd love to make amends with the boy I knew back then. But sometimes I run. Oh, sometimes I run. Sometimes I run. Just because I can. Sometimes I'd love to make amends with the boy I knew back then. But sometimes I run. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
What a stunning voice. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
I appreciate that. That song feels so good to sing.
Yeah. It'll sound equally as good to hear and
Thank you.
and to receive. So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hot
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, how do we feel?
It's an ode to your inner child. Like,
Yeah.
oh, at least that's a takeaway I had. I'm curious, like, how does it, because you made the comment of like how it felt to play that, but like, what was that like to play that just now out loud to a couple people?
It feels really good. It feels like I don't know. It feels like very cathartic to sing about those things. And kind of like I was mentioning earlier, it makes to be able to sing about it and process the fuck ass feelings that inspire it through a song makes me feel a little bit better about a lot of the stuff in the song that I'm like not necessarily proud of.
Sure.
And it, I guess, reminds me that beautiful things can spawn out of darkness.
Yeah.
You know, to me, I feel like the most beautiful things have spawned out of darkness for me.
Well, and I mean, this beautiful metaphor of running, right? But so often our fear brain is like we're running from something.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you can flip the script and see what you're running to,
Mhm.
right, is empowering.
Yeah.
And because I am the longest toothed person in this room, like I'm at that age where I recognize like there are all these things that you can run from in your life. But when you start realizing that you're actually running forward into something is when that badass really starts like,
Mhm.
ooh, that's
Yeah.
so. And I hear all of those in that song. So,
Yeah, that's a good reminder that I
Mhm.
forget, I feel like, a lot of times.
Yeah.
And just like I was having a conversation throughout this weekend of like we don't have to process every single thing. It's so
Yeah.
important to notice though, right? Like notice a name and like
Mhm.
to
True.
know oh you're good. To notice a name that you're running. Like even if you're running from something and just being able to make that choice, even like having that autonomy, having the ability to
Right.
say like no, fuck that. I don't want to actually like process that. I'm going to run away from it. And like knowing that that's what you're doing, sometimes what is important to the whole process is to just name the thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. Because I feel like sometimes we like try to correct in any like
Mhm.
we correct the thoughts that pass through our head that uh might not necessarily be like positive or whatever, but like then we kind of can get stuck, I feel like,
Mhm.
trying to like be perfect and trying to um I guess therapize ourselves.
Mhm.
Like over therapy.
Overdoing
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. But I guess like just having that awareness can be really nice.
And there's
Um,
a physiological difference actually. Like there's a phrase that we use in the therapeutic world called like name it to tame it. And it's a fun
mhm.
little phrase that rhymes that people can have it stick with us. But there's literally a physiological difference in your body when you name something,
Mm.
the intensity drops. And so even just naming it, it doesn't mean we need to do anything about it. We just need to name it so that we can notice it and be like, okay, and that's over there. And I don't have to touch it if I don't want to, kind of a thing.
I feel like so much of the heartache that I've experienced in my life um, has been a result of this like idea that if I don't talk about something, it doesn't exist. And so that kind of
Mhm.
goes along with the naming it to tame it. Like,
Mhm.
just because I'm not talking about something doesn't make it not there.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yep.
just gonna cause the pressure to build, and then
Yep.
the volcano will erupt eventually and
Exactly.
cause a lot more havoc than maybe it
Uh-huh.
might have if I would have just like said it with my chest.
Mhm.
It can be dangerous also. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 how it comes out can be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that is like a sort of very Southern thing too. Like,
Oh, yes.
you know, like it's like pretending that everything's okay. And
Mhm.
like, I feel like my whole life, my parents and my family, like whenever they were enduring maybe hardship themselves, like I don't think that they felt like they had the autonomy or
Mhm.
that they were capable. I don't think that they realized that they had the opportunity to say that they were
Yeah.
struggling.
Mhm.
And so I feel like whenever I realized that life isn't perfect, it was like shit. Like we don't. This isn't like a white picket fence perfect situation. Like
Yeah.
no, and it made it so much more difficult for me um to face, I think,
Yeah.
head on. And the second verse of the song, remembering this is your first time too is the only
Yeah.
thing that keeps me from hating you. That applies to a lot of people in my life, but also kind of like myself too. And it's the only way for me not to like drown in my like anger
Sure.
Totally.
um toward people who've really really hurt me.
Mhm.
And I can acknowledge um the I understand. I feel like it doesn't justify the way that I was hurt, but it explains it to or let me figure out what I'm trying to say. Thinking about my parents, for example, they're people too. And I remember the time where when I realized that they are also human beings. And that's like the only thing that keeps me from like having like really resentful feelings sometimes. And it doesn't justify the ways that I was hurt, but it explains it. That's what I'm trying to say is I feel like it helps me to process some of that resentment, to be aware of the explanation. Again, doesn't justify it, but
there's something I say to the folks that I work with a lot, which is it's a reason for understanding, but not an excuse.
Right. Yes.
Like it's not an excuse. We're responsible for taking ownership of the ways that we act, words we say, things we do, et cetera, et cetera. And same thing for everybody on this planet. But it's like, just because that happened, it doesn't excuse people from it. It's a reason for understanding. We can get the context. We can work towards understanding further so that we can maybe make amends or figure out what we need to do next. But like, it is not an excuse to treat somebody like shit and hurt them. And
right.
I think responsibility is such a key word of and you always that feeling is like it's not your fault the way you feel, but it is your responsibility to handle that and where you choose to go with it next on your own adventure. And it's something you kind of brought up that that point of that kind of, it was their first time too. There's no rule book to this. There's no road map. So the easy default is what came before. If this is what was handed to me, this is what I'll hand down because it requires the least path of least resistance. It's a case of like I don't want to have to go figure this out. I don't have time. I don't have the capacity to go figure this out. So I'm just gonna regurgitate maybe what came before me. And like there's no rule book for life in terms of parenting, especially. But the responsibility of acknowledging it and naming it where you reach the age you are is irrelevant on the age. Just arriving there is the healthy part and the healthy portion of where you decide to kind of say, okay, what is that? Where is that? And you kind of mentioned it before, was the it's an ode to yourself and your younger child and growing up to be the bigger brother or the parent that you wanted to be for yourself, or whatever. And that kind of saying, I'll do for myself what I wish I could have had. I think one of those kind of key points of that is you mentioned the resentment piece of the overcoming that is so difficult. So difficult. And there's also, from my own experience, I've kind of seen not just that, but the recognition of the scope of when you started that journey. I mean, I started I'd say like therapy and like mental health research and journey as I was 29, 30 years old, and 35 now. So it's still short in that, that term, but felt empowered enough to do this. But the looking back with the resentment piece, but also looking back with this huge scope of like, oh my goodness, how many people did I hurt? How many people did I impact negatively? Who has come and gone into my life seasonally that I was the result of because of an unnamed X, Y, and Z? And that is a daunting feeling. But the moment you recognize where it is, it's like you hear the stories of some people pick up like the phone to like older people. It's like, hey, I'm so sorry that I did this to you in high school. It's like maybe not that degree, but there's that accepting your responsibility to tie that back in of this is who you are, this is how you felt. You are still you. You haven't changed metaphysically, but you're still here. And bringing that to some kind of peace, in your mind, I think is a really important value to add to where you arrive. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
But I think it was back to the song itself. Just beautiful.
Thank you.
That's the reason I asked you to be here. Your voice.
Thank you.
When I played that round, my wife was in the audience, and I came off stage. She was like, "That Mason," and she was doing this. She's like, "That Mason." Like voice. I'm like, no. I was like, it was a strong round. I forgot who else was on the round, but we were all sat there and we all just looked. I was like, I everybody was pretty good on this. I'm not blowing smoke up myself,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, we're just like, everybody was pretty good on this, right? It never usually happens that way. It's usually like one where everybody's sat and gone,
Yeah.
we're working through it. Everybody's at their own, you know, part of the race.
Right.
So, yeah.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Because I'm a coach, right? I'm always thinking
Yes,
about the
ma'am.
momentum and what you take with that moment. But so, were there aha moments for you in playing this song this time around? Like, yes, it felt good, but was there something within the playing that you discovered for yourself that you're like, oh, I want to make sure I remember this piece, or I want to make sure like, or this sounded like the right tone that really hit, like just in the creative process part of it.
I find that when I sing songs that have like sort of the big long notes like in the chorus, that I never do it the same way twice.
Okay.
And all the different like little ad libs or ways that I might sing a line, they change. I feel like a lot over time. I think that I've kind of like I feel like I've settled into like a good groove of a couple of different things that I do in the chorus. But it just feels so free to sing it because like I feel like I'm running when I sing it, and I feel like the way that I wrote it sort of embodies that feeling of running.
Yeah.
Sometimes I run, and just like just the one big whole note or whatever. I feel like I can
reverb just shimmer
Yeah.
across the
Yeah, right.
I need to polish it up a little bit in the way that I just play it. I haven't played it too many times. But it's one where I can just do it with my guitar and it sounds like I think as good as it would with a band,
Yeah.
or with a fully, produced track or whatever. It just felt really comfortable.
Nice.
And yeah, that's what I noticed, I guess, playing it.
Yeah. Notice what you noticed.
Yeah. Something that I was thinking about whenever you were talking about how like you feel like you like, when you were around 29, 30, you started to like, get into your like therapy journey and sort of like you started to dive into your mental health. It seems like that's what you were that's what you were saying. I feel like for me, I've gotten crazier as I've gotten older. I feel like I feel like I've started to like lose my shit. Like I feel like I used to have it all together, and now I'm like, the fuck?
What's that? Well, you're just a rubber band, right? Like
Yeah.
sometimes it comes in and it's tight and it's contained, but you have to push those edges and figure out where this phrase end is, and then you find something there, and then can come. I mean, that's the beauty. It's the playfulness of this life. Is like embracing all that stretch,
Right.
but all the tight, and then the woo.
Right.
So yeah, you're in this season.
Yes, that's where I'm at.
I found this, and in that exact point, I found as I've gotten older, my scope has widened. So you acknowledge so much more in the peripheral of being around. That, like for me, the one thing I found was the drain on empathy for me. I was like, I think naturally a reasonable amount of empathetic. I'm like, you get a lot of people say empathy's a weakness. I'm like, it's not, help each other. The widening of that scope changed, and it started to kind of drain me a little bit. It's just like I can't control what's outside of this world. I have to like control what's within my world. But to that point, like it drives you to another point of like, why can I not handle this? And then I start tensing up. So I see that point of the older you get, the crazier it does get, because I think your perspective and your lens widens a little bit from like a younger age, where you're so narrow focused on who I am and this is what I want and this is what I'm gonna do, and having that, and it's a privilege to feel that way because you can be so interested in one thing and give it so much dedication, so much passion. And the older you get, you realize there's so much more happening around you that you become cognizant of. And again, you can either, shrink from that, or you can say, okay, well, there's a lot more to handle now, so I need to handle it more methodically, find what's right for you and what matters most and bring it closer. I'm a firm believer, this is something my dad says so frequently, is let the picture come to you. And it was kind of one of those things. It's like you can run in those moments. So we talk about sometimes I run and just letting that picture come to you and deeming what's important about that picture. I think kind of helps me be less crazy. If I'm in an art gallery and I can see a painting, I'm like, that's a really impressive piece of art. But where do I look? Where do I start? And then you see one particular brushstroke was done in a very specific way, super guided it was like a black in the place where there shouldn't be a black stroke, and you go, oh, that's different, and you just focus in on that one tiny detail, and you go, oh, the picture's up here now, and then you go, okay, now we can push it back, So I'm a firm believer in that for sure. So you mentioned you may be interested in performing another song, is that right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I have a couple that I feel like are kind of like suited for like these kind of conversations. I mean, I feel like I could play any song and we could break it down or whatever.
Yeah.
But let's see which one I'm gonna do. I think I'll. This one's like really hard to sing, so I might like change it up a little bit so I can, because I don't know if I'll be able to do it right now. It's called Hullabaloo. I'm in love for the first time, and it is so amazing and terrifying also.
Yes.
And this song is about the terrifying part of it. And Hullabaloo is just like how it feels. It's like so chaotic, and I like was not prepared for how insecure I would feel at some times whenever I was especially like getting into the beginning of it, into the relationship. My bestie, sexy daddy man guy, you know who you are. Yes. He is a sexy silver fox, and he is so amazing and so beautiful on the inside and out. And when we first started dating, I was just like really facing a lot of like self-doubt and questioning my worthiness of love, period. But the kind of love that he is willing to show me and share with me. So yeah, this song is like pretty much just full of a bunch of questions about questions about what I'm worthy of, and am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? That's the first line of the song is, am I pretty enough for you? So it's called Hullabaloo. Okay, here we go. Am I pretty enough for you? Should I freeze or keep cool? If I was over the hill, would you still feel like you needed room? When will you turn me loose? Am I barking at the wrong roots? Baby, if cherries are red, I will let you pretend I'm not blue. Climbing this mountain, holding out for the view. I'm marooned on an island inside. Am I wise or just chasing a fool? Tending this garden for one too many moons. Should I go all the way? Will my pain be in vain, or will this orchid bloom? Hullabaloo, hullabaloo, me and you. How come you want him to? I was better off before the truth. I can't build a house on the sand, then demand there's no chance it could move. I'm climbing this mountain, holding out for the view. I'm marooned on an island inside. Am I wise or just chasing a fool? I'm tending this garden for one too many moons. Should I go all the way? Will my pain be in vain, or will this orchid bloom? Hullabaloo, ooh, 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 ooh. Hullabaloo. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So what the feeling that you get now that you've written that, where you say like, if I'm in a situation now in my romantic life where I'm good and I feel good and I feel about this song came from a place of saying, are you, like you said, worthy enough of the feeling? So does it, performing the songs, does it still make you feel that way, or is it now you get to look at that a little bit more methodically and say like, I felt that way?
I think more of the latter.
Okay.
It's really cool because it feels like a time stamp of where I was in that point in my life, and it's crazy how much can change in just a short span of time. Like I wrote the song like a year ago, a little over a year ago, and I wasn't consumed. Well, I wasn't all consumed constantly by these feelings, but a bitch was consumed, I will say, at certain points. Like, very consumed sometimes. But that's what kind of, like, led me to the song. Like, again, like I said earlier, like, I feel like for better or for worse, right, because I have no other choice. Like, I didn't know what to do with the feelings other than bang my head up against a wall, you know?
Right.
And it feels really good now to be able to sing it and look back on where I was then and how far I've come in my like journey toward loving myself and believing that I'm worthy. I think that's still probably one of the biggest things I struggle with. Like, I expect myself to be perfect all the time, and I'm not. And when I struggle with that, it makes me frustrated with myself even more because I would typically consider myself to be a super confident person, and I like to move through life with courage and bravery because I feel like I have in most ways. So that almost makes me feel even worse when I don't feel that way because I expect myself to, and I hold myself to the standard. Sometimes that makes it even more debilitating when I feel like I'm in the depths, because I'm like, why can't I? Why am I not perfect? Why am I not the way that I was at one point, or what? Like what's going on? But yeah, that song was just birthed out of all those self-doubts and feelings of unworthiness. But it was kind of a song again that like wrote itself, like I just like was like
Didn't force it.
it just like came out, and those are the best ones.
They are, without a shadow of a doubt. The ones where you feel like your antenna is just up, just feeding in from somewhere else, and you go, that just came out some way or some form. I'd be interested to know, Lizzie, from your kind of standpoint, in terms of like some of the, the client work that you do for understanding some of these types of concepts. Like, how does that show up for you in Mason's song, but also like even outside of that in other people's kind of field? Like, how does that show up in different ways?
Oh my God, all the time. Like
Yeah.
it's just it's normal. It's so normal. I think especially to the questioning if you're worthy or not, and especially within relationships and like romantic relationships, and when you're putting yourself out there and being so vulnerable with somebody else, and whether it's the first time or the 100th time, it's like there's this aspect of like, oh God, am I gonna get hurt? Or like if I put myself if I show you who I actually am, are you gonna accept this? Are you actually
Oh.
going to like what you see?
Mhm.
And it's not just all of these like polished and posh parts of me, but also these like really shitty parts that I picked up along the way, and like kind of relating it back to the first song that you played for us, like the stuff that you learned over time that then all of a sudden you're realizing, wait a second, this isn't actually mine. This is what I picked up through life, and I don't actually want to think this way or believe these things or do these actions, but you have to take responsibility, right, for what you've done throughout your life. And so then when you're opening up to somebody, especially in a relationship, like a romantic relationship, trying to figure it out moving forward, like so much of that can come up. And so to what I'm hearing within this song is just that normalcy of it all. Like we all question if we're worthy or not. It's just, are we ballsy enough to actually say that we are?
Yeah.
Because everybody struggles with it. I talk
Yeah.
about this often with people of like the imposter syndrome of just being a human. Of like
Mhm.
everybody's got it all together, and like especially when you look on social media, it's like
Yeah, right.
everyone has
Right.
their highlight reel on Instagram, and it's like, well, nobody's gonna. Well, maybe some people might, but nobody's really gonna post the video of them like sobbing at 2 a.m. because something happened or because they feel like absolute dog shit because they weren't perfect. But like none of us are, and are we brave enough though? Are we courageous enough though to admit that and then show that to the world and like especially to the people who love us?
Mhm.
And like, oh man, that comes up all the time.
Yeah.
Every conversation. Everything I do in therapy with folks is very relational, so it's
Right.
all about that.
Which I was gonna ask, like, when y'all's work with ECHO,
Yeah.
what role do you feel like, whether it's like relationships that you're building with the people that you're serving, or like the relationships that they're building for support systems, what role does like you feel like the relationship building like aspect of things play in what y'all do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
everything you just
Actually,
said. Yes.
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 That's it.
I mean, here's the thing, and I think I my intention for this entire year when I show up for Echo Live, the one word that I chose for myself this year when I show up to people is relationship. Like, because every people that are even no longer here with me anymore, I'm in relationship with them,
Totally.
right? Like it's a different relationship. But all of this, where art is inspired, where we find our meaning in this world is all about relationship with them, with yourself. And so it's incredibly important, I think, the work that Echo Live is doing to see people, to acknowledge the struggle or the challenges that they're feeling, while also trying to balance the fun. Like we talk about mental health, but another piece is embracing that it's okay to have some fun sometimes.
Mhm.
And that's really cool
Yeah.
about this industry. Um, but all of that is relationship with each other. Where you get the next gig, where you hear somebody at a writer's round and go, hot damn, that was a great song. I want to know more about them. Or that inspires, you were talking about Rick Rubin earlier, but that inspiration of pulling from something that you hear and that inspires the next piece that you might create isn't something to be ashamed about. It's just a igniter. It's the next inspiration. So I think that relationship is rooted at all of it, whether it's someone dropping in for the first time to meet Lizzie at All Access on Site, and then being able to connect with someone that they can continue their mental health journey with, which then allows them to stay in relationship with themselves. Like
Mhm.
it's all this big domino effect of yes and.
Yeah. Welcome to improv. Yes,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned something really important too about like joy and play.
Mhm.
And I did a workshop last June actually That was what the title is, Queer Joy as Resistance. And it was talking about how it is so important, and that's actually like in the history of queerness, to bring in joy to spaces, and like how we have to find playfulness and joy and relation to other people through those things, because that's actually how we heal.
Yeah.
And so much research goes into I focus a lot within complex trauma, complex PTSD, and so much trauma research points towards how we have to find ways to like bring humor and joy and laughter and
Yeah.
playfulness into the spaces in order to heal. And so like even through something like, again, like songwriting or something that is encompassed in the arts, like that's playfulness, like breaking out your guitar and starting to write some things down, or like you're running to your car and have an idea for a song lyric, but it's like that's all so connected to play and joy and like the resiliency that humans all have. It's just how do we actually get in touch with it? And so again, to be able to talk about these heavier topics of like worthiness or resentfulness or things like that, like how can we bring it in the scope with play and joy and fun, because it doesn't have to be heavy all the time and like, oh, let's talk about these deep dark secrets and horrible things. Like sure, we can do that, and let's bring more with it.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge component of the, like you said, the music being a part of that catharsis. It's such a unifier. Everybody likes music. I don't think I've met anybody in my entire life that didn't like something about music, whether it be a certain genre. It's just like, I only listen to classical. That's awesome. You find joy in that. That's great. I could never. But the concept of like finding that joy in the music and where you go that extra step further to be able to articulate that into music that then comes back to you. Like you said, almost like earlier on where you say like listening back to it on your speakers, that's it made it all the way through here, through your hands, into all this equipment, and came back at you, and you go, I still feel good about this. I still feel amazing. And it brought you that, like you said, I got so excited. I heard it. And you was like, that same feeling is the same that other people are going to feel about your story, about what you're going to convey to them with the things that you've seen and the catharsis that you've done for yourself. And I think feeling seen in that moment for most people, I think going into therapy is somebody just sitting there for a moment and going, yeah, that totally happened. You're like, oh my God, it did happen, right? I did feel these things, and I'm not, it's not invalidated in any way. I think there's such a beauty in the music side of things, because it's such a great unifier. Such a great unifier, and so many people, I'm sure it's like a song has saved my life.
Yeah.
This song got me through a hard time. Well,
or like
what
help
if
them realize something or process something for
Yeah.
themselves? Like,
and what if your song's going to do that for someone else? And I think that's the empowerment you should feel when you put that out into the world. And like you said, we're going to the music festival season this year, right? And we're, CMA's done, Bonnaroo's coming up, and for time sense of this podcast, it is June of 2026, and just anybody's watching this.
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride, everybody!
Happy Pride Month.
Everybody's watching this at a different time, but with Bonnaroo coming up, and you see everybody from, like you said, playing the small acoustic stages all the way up to the great big main stage, of how powerful that is, in that feeling of how you show up with your music that you wrote in these spaces, like that single on your couch in your bed, just hunched over a guitar playing that stuff, to then see it translate to so many people singing it back at you. That resonance is so powerful, so powerful. So if you can bring that into, like I said, on site, learning, it's just the case of like, why do I feel this way? It's okay to answer that question,
And sometimes you might not be able to answer the question.
True.
Yeah.
It's another piece where it's like sometimes we feel.
Right.
And that's it, period.
Bundles of nerves and feelings.
Noticing, like you were saying.
Exactly.
Notice it, be aware of it, not always have to fix it.
We don't have to do anything about
Yeah,
it.
right.
Exactly.
God.
Exactly.
That's so hard to remember.
We put too much emphasis on the being of human beings, right?
Yeah.
Right? But all we're doing is doing instead of
being.
Yeah.
When
I
as a
like
therapist,
that.
I struggle just to notice and name and not do. Like so nobody knows how to just sit with it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I also facilitate these wellness retreats, and I work with my cohort is a dancer. He is a brilliant storyteller, and he has been in modern dance.
Mm.
And we're doing this exercise, and he said, Kara, still is a movement choice. And I was like,
You're like, what do you mean?
years of cultural conditioning that I have to do.
True.
I can choose still,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
And it's a power
And still
place.
is powerful.
Yeah.
Like on
Yeah.
stage, sitting.
Mhm.
Michael
Silence.
Jackson used to stand there for 2 minutes before he took the shades off. He would just stood
Right,
there, silent,
yeah.
let everybody absorb the moment, just still as a statue, and then he'd
Wow.
take the shades off. you know?
Let them see you.
And it's like silence. Silence is a very powerful tool in the therapeutic space that a lot of folks really struggle with as therapists, because we feel the need to
Fill that
fill
space.
space.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, what are they going to think or do? Or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, just
Be.
Let them see you. I think that's what that's what our fear is
Oh.
being seen and being
God.
truly like vulnerable.
Right.
And it is challenging. It can be really difficult,
Mhm.
but like I think
Yeah.
that's probably like why it's so difficult sometimes
Mhm.
to resist the feeling of needing to fill the space and
Yeah.
do something, you know?
Mhm.
Sitting with it is hard.
it is.
But it can open so many doors for your processing and your your state of being. Like
Mhm.
like if you're constantly trying to do and fix, then like you don't. Then it's like you never give yourself time to actually feel your
Mm.
feelings.
Mhm.
And it almost seems like it's kind of like going back to what I was talking about earlier. Like it's like you're distracting yourself from reality, from the truth.
Yeah.
And hiding or not, just because you're not acknowledging it doesn't mean it's not there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And choosing stillness helps us to like build the relationship with ourselves, like you were
So we
talking
can hear
about.
ourselves
Mhm.
more. You
Yeah.
can actually like sit and listen to what our inner world is actually saying versus like all the conditioning that's on the outside coming into us. Like doing this work, right? Like doing the therapeutic work or whatever which way, whether it's through therapy or like a journey with yoga or a journey with whatever, it's hard shit. Like it's not for the weak. It takes a lot of courage to sit and be in stillness and silence and hear yourselves like your own thoughts coming in. But it's like out of doing the work myself, entering into grad school, becoming the therapist, like I personally and clinically believe it's very unethical if a therapist doesn't go to therapy themselves and do the work on themselves. And so I've had years, many, many years, over a decade doing it for myself. And I'm so glad I do every day. And I still go to therapy and I love my therapist. She's great. But it's if you're not doing the work, you don't always see the benefit, obviously. But when you start to do the work, it feels incredibly painful and you don't want to sit in it.
Mhm.
It sucks else, but it's so worth it every time I sit back and think to myself, like, I'm so glad I made the choice to do this for myself and actually work on myself. And I try to relay that to folks in conversation who are thinking about going to therapy and wanting to work on their mental health. Because I'm like, it will not feel like that for a minute. But I promise you, once you start getting into the work and doing it, like you are going to hit a point where you're like, thank the world that I did this,
Yeah.
because it's so much you see so much more of yourself. You can actually be more authentic and genuine, and like how terrifying it can be to put yourself out there and be vulnerable ends up you learn how to tolerate it a little bit more, and it makes it even more worth it to continue doing it at a larger scale.
For sure. I just reminded me what you were saying. Reminds me of that I think you should see someone. That book or whatever. The, like where therapists goes to see their
Lori
therapist.
Gottlieb,
Yeah.
she's great.
Yeah. That just reminded me of that book. Yeah.
It's a good one.
That's something that I've been struggling with recently is the what do you call it? The something tolerance, the
Distress tolerance.
distress tolerance. Oh my God.
It's ass.
And
It's hard.
I go into fix. I go into like
Fix it.
accommodate mode,
Or, like,
to
solution
fix mode,
specialist.
solutions focused, and this is something that my therapist and I have been talking about, like how I don't. It keeps me from listening to myself, and actually, I dismiss myself,
Yep.
and I then wonder why my needs aren't being met. It's because
Yeah.
I'm not meeting them myself.
And you're teaching everybody else around you
100%.
how to treat yourself, because that's how you're treating yourself. And you're like,
100%.
same. I'm working on that too. I get it. It's hard.
Very difficult.
Well, and I feel like in this industry, this pain we carry, how much we can struggle as like a badge of honor, right?
Right.
And the moment that you can quit listening to that and go, ooh, well, what if I just looked somebody in the eyeballs and said, how are you doing? Or you seem, there's something, seems to be something going on. And allows them to see themselves and have it mirrored back to them. That's like, ooh, wait, you mean I can put this down for a second and I don't have to carry just around the pain and the
Yeah.
demands, right?
Break out that programming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to do, but one conversation at a time or one awareness on yourself at a time. There is, from my mentor, I feel like Mark Lamb, I need to give you a shout out. But he had a mentor named Liz Lerman who said, resistance is information. Like every time this resistance would come up and you want to shame yourself or guilt yourself or carry on the badge of I'm just going to hold, it's just information. And taking that small shift of recognizing, oh, whatever this struggle is, it's just information.
Right.
How do I interpret it?
Yeah.
It can really start to change instead of just adopting it and letting it pile on to go,
Right.
okay, that's just information. Just blue is a color. Boom,
Right.
resistant, like.
So something that I've struggled with, I think recently, is trying to decipher resistance that I feel that is in accordance with my values versus my discomfort with change or something new. Like, do I actually resist this because I stand against it? Because it's against my values? Or do I resist this because I'm not comfortable with it yet? You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, it requires a lot of trust in yourself and knowing yourself to like be able to answer that question. And I guess time and not being afraid to let's like throw shit against the wall and see if it sticks or not, trial and error. But I mean, sometimes with certain experiences or scenarios, if it's like deep enough or if it's serious enough, it's like you don't really always have the chance to trial and error to test it out.
You don't
It's
have
like,
the safety.
you don't have the safety. Yeah. So it's like, do I actually not want to do this because I don't want to do this? Or do I not want to do this because I'm afraid?
Risking comfort. Yeah.
How do you decipher the difference?
I mean, you're talking about it. Like you're it sounds like you're doing the things. So I'm an ACT-based therapist, which acceptance and commitment therapy is like a theory that I practice from, and it's all about like values. Or one of the major things with ACT is values. And so values-based work is huge, and something that I'll bring in the first few sessions when I'm working with folks is like, what are your top 5 values? One, it's top 5 because like if we focus on too many things at once, we're not going to focus on anything at all.
Right.
But like, what are your priorities right now? And like usually what we'll see over time is people's values will typically stay relatively the same. At least like the top 10 of their values will usually be the same. It just depends on the context of their life. If they're having kids or getting married or whatever, it might shift. But orienting to your values. So a lot of the times I'll ask folks and be like, what do your values say about that? Like when you're making decisions about whether or not something is truly like unsafe, uncomfortable, like outside of your comfort zone, but not like there's like 3 layers of comfort zone and uncomfortable comfort zone and then the uncomfortable zone. We want to avoid the uncomfortable zone because that's where like boundaries are broken. That's where your like harm and your safety is not being prioritized.
Totally.
Right.
But comfortable zone, that's where we want to be because that's where growth and change and transformation happen.
Right.
That's typically going to still encompass your values. So when you can focus, like, what are your top priorities in your life right now? Like, what are the top 5 things that you feel like you want to live your day-to-day based on and your daily choices, but also when you're planning for the future, like these things are so important to you and you want to see in your life. What would each value say about the decision that you're making? Because that's probably going to shine a light on whether or not it's like, ooh, like integrity is being questioned here, or my authenticity is being questioned here, or I'm not prioritizing my community here. And like, you can kind of start to paint a picture. The best thing though, and sometimes the worst thing about values work is values conflicts, which where two values or multiple values might like bump up
Clash,
against
yeah.
each other, and there's like that tension, but that's where the both and exists, right? So bringing it back to what we were
Right.
talking earlier, where two things can exist at once. Something could be a really, really great decision for one value or two values in mind, but actually really challenge you in a way that might not be the safest thing on another value. And so then it's about like determining with yourself and the people that you find to be important sounding boards on like what actually makes sense in
Yeah.
the context of your life.
And I mean, you go through life living enough, like you start to recognize the armor that you pick up, right? In these moments when things start to get uncomfortable. And 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 eventually it's like you recognize which piece of armor isn't suiting you because it doesn't allow you to line up with these values, right? And so you then can go, I'm just going to test out if I can leave you over here, you know? And I find that if I'm in this season where I notice I'm starting to armor up a bunch, I have to take those values, like the ones that, and even condense it down to one or two, and I will put it everywhere so that
Like
even
check.
just the visual
Yeah.
check of like, oh yeah, I want to be magnetic. I don't want to be deflective. I want to draw things in, right? And so, how do I show up to do that in some way? I'm just spitballing the magnetic piece, but like
Yeah.
you know when you're gonna go into a season when you're depleted
Mm.
or you're not showing up. You're like when I was throwing the coffee cup across a baseball field, I was not showing up the best version of Kara Kemp, and I had to go sit with myself for a second and go, wait a second, what do you need to do? Like, how do you reground?
Yeah.
I mean, trial and error, sure, but also that generosity towards yourself of you're gonna mess it up. It's not always gonna look good.
Right.
It's and then preparing better for next time. Oh, I'm gonna plant this seed for myself. This is how I want to show up.
I had another thought off that, which
Mm.
practicing being in emotions helps you actually understand them. So you said something earlier that I will also often say to the folks I work with, which is emotions are data. Like emotions are data. So if we don't let ourselves sit in them, like if we don't learn to tolerate them, like the distress tolerance of sitting in whatever it is, then we're not actually going to get the full information and understanding of what it feels like. So a lot of times emotions can feel like other emotions, like there are primary emotions, secondary emotions, tertiary emotions, et cetera, et cetera. But like if we don't let ourselves actually sit in that experience and feel what it feels like, and a lot of the times, like especially with more distressing emotions, they can feel so heavy or urgent or like you're gonna die. And who wants to sit in that? Nobody. And knowing that most emotions are not going to kill us, like I mean, no emotions truly are going to kill us if we give ourselves the time and space to sit with it and be with it. It just feels like that. And trying to convince ourselves of that is hard when we're in the moment with it. But urgency is one of those emotions or feelings that can come up for a lot of folks that I think is really difficult to navigate. I know myself, like I struggle when I'm like, I need to get this done. And it's like, take a beat, take a breath, take a moment, because the urgency will reduce when you name it to tame it. And then you can actually determine, is it urgency that's driving the need to do or figure out or make the choice versus like to put down the armor or not? And usually a lot of the times that's what I'll see folks like struggle with, is feeling this like, but I have to do it. And it's like, can you take like 30 seconds, like truly whip out your phone, put a timer for 30 seconds and just be for that time?
Sit in it. Yeah.
And like see what comes up afterwards. Or like if you're feeling real ballsy, like do it for 2 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Take some real deep breaths while you're at it.
Most emotions have a shelf life of about 90 seconds if you actually let them exist in your body.
Just pass through you.
They'll pass.
Which kind of like bringing it back to songwriting, like having access to this craft is such a beautiful tool for that.
Yeah.
Totally.
For processing shit that I genuinely otherwise don't know that I would be able to. I mean, I'm learning that I could.
Good. You have the option.
It's there, but it's such a helpful tool, such a beautiful tool to channel some of those really distressing, feelings into something that can be made beautiful.
I think the conveying of that is important in songwriting, as we often have to say the most amount of things in the least amount of words. Like, I think
Right.
that's one of those things that really, it forces you to find the antithesis of the thing itself, you know, like, because you want to keep the convention of, well, this thing's going to be 3.5 minutes or else it's not going to make the radio.
Right.
Like, you still have to keep that in mind. So what it forces you to do is par down the thought further and further and further and further. It's like, hey, this verse is now 16 verses long, and I'm keep writing because I keep having the thing, and you keep paring down, and then you end up with the smartest thing you've ever said in the least amount of words, and that becomes the thing, and that's often, like you said, at times you put it down into a 5th grade reading level, people go, oh yeah, that's what it is, and you can keep it simple, and I think that's the beauty, like you said, within the songwriting aspect of what healing through those songs really does is you have identify it, then you have to think it out into the world, and then you have to put it down into 3.5 minutes. You got to figure it out. You know, I think that's a skill.
Which is the interesting though too, because I obviously listening to, we mentioned her earlier, like Taylor Swift or like
Sure.
somebody like Noah Kahan, where it's like some of their songs are actually really, really long.
Really long.
And like those are the ones that like the diehard fans are like,
play that
that's my favorite song. I listen to it every morning, like kind of thing. And so it's like, how can we do both? You know, it's like, how can you have the experience to let yourself do both and be brave enough, courageous enough, right, to do both things, where you can parse it down, make it digestible for the general public, because that's needed in order to market the things, make the money,
make the money go around.
Exactly. And also, like, hey, your songwriting's yours. And going back to something that you were saying, like right as we were starting, like you want to be proud of what you're producing. Like you want to be proud of what you're putting out there and writing and singing and performing, right? Like, because these are things that are from your life and your experiences. And if you, at the end of the day, don't feel like you're connecting with it, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Totally.
And how cool is it to be able to like be proud of my crazy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
To be proud of it, like, and to own it, because again, it's there. Whether or not I sing it, whether or not I open my mouth to talk about it or sing about it, it's there.
It's there.
It's there. It's here.
We're all crazy, and it sounds like all of us have had our own mental health journeys. I can safely assume that, I think. And you know, as you learn more about yourselves, it's like you just realize like how nuts we actually all are on the individual level, and then it's like, oh, thank
People are
God,
crazy.
like I don't have to hide this anymore because I found other people who are also
Right.
crazy. And
Right.
it's like, welcome to the club.
Yeah, the other side of that fence. The understanding is just like, oh yeah, we're all nuts in here, but we all get it.
It's
So
like, come here.
so hang tight, and we're gonna have fun, you know. So
Absolutely.
Right.
yeah, for sure.
And it's so cool because, like you said, whenever you take that leap of faith to allow yourself to be seen and to share the things that are maybe difficult too, I have found that immediately I'm able to connect.
Yes.
Because everyone else feels that way about something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And without somebody taking that first step to share, like, it makes it more difficult for other people to do that, you know? Because when you it's like a permission structure for people to be themselves as well.
You're actually speaking directly to research. I feel like I'm like, the research says.
Right,
Maybe that's my role.
Michelle.
That's my role today, is just bringing in the mental health research. But there's been so many studies actually on like mutual vulnerability done, where it's like if somebody is willing enough to be open and share something about themselves, the likelihood that the other person is going to feel safe and comfortable to do the same is actually like, it increases immensely. And so that's actually how like mutual vulnerability is formed, is from somebody being able to take that first step to share. And then usually somebody else will then feel comfortable and safe enough to do it back, which then creates closer bonds, more integrated and interconnected relationships. And that's what then leads to better understanding of each other, more healing.
Right.
It's also like I said, the macro level is this. It's the understanding of you just normalizing the conversation in and amongst you. And I think, you know, Mason and I can probably speak to this from two very different parts of the world and different parts of life, and understanding this with like something that happens within men that just doesn't
Mhm.
doesn't connect in that same way, because it's a case of like, yeah, we don't talk about that. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found myself, funnily enough, riding home from an out of town gig this weekend, riding home, and we talked about like, hey, I'm going to therapy, and I'm like, tell me more, and I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm
Right.
leaping out of the back seat like, oh, tell me more, like, and having that conversation about that willingness to be vulnerable. And it's like mental awareness is important. Of course, it's important, but the awareness starts at like, is it just a fleeting Instagram post? Is it like some thing that comes out? It's just a case of, no, we have to have something tangible, something real. The world is on fire at the minute. Like, how do we
Yeah.
have something tangible and real that it's like, oh, it's almost like we can go back to the prehistoric time of just simple community, and we can understand this conversation together as long as we're willing to have it. I think now with the tools and resources that we do have from clinical awareness, that conversation gets so much easier.
Yeah.
So much easier. And being able to do it is to share with the world, is to,
Right.
Yeah.
advocate for others.
What's so tea is that it's so simple.
It's
Right?
so
Right.
It is
simple.
so simple. We're sitting over here like
But it's not.
getting all deep, but that doesn't make it easy
No.
to do
No,
always. But
fine.
it's like,
It is.
oh my God, when you talk about your feelings, you feel
Mhm.
better.
Yeah.
Right. I
And it's like,
know.
oh my God,
Uh-huh.
when you connect with other human
human beings.
beings and you
Yeah.
share your experiences and you listen and you
Mhm.
expand your perspectives, you feel better.
I think
What?
there's such a
Right. It's like
Mhm.
the disconnect
crazy.
the disconnect that people feel from, like you said, if you've grown up in a household or a space, or your background is a case of like, absolutely not, you shove that down,
Yeah.
we're not ever having this conversation, like, depending on how hard that was for you up until this point of wherever you're at, the harder it's going to be. But the moment it cracks, the floodgates are, they come through full speed, and yeah, it's incredible to have.
And it's worth it.
Yes.
Right? We hold on to that delicate, fragile state of armor because we think that's going to protect us or it's going to keep us safe.
Mhm.
But the minute that cracks and that cracks open and it opens those floodgates, it's so much richer on the other side.
Oh my goodness.
So
Like,
much better.
I got married late in life, and my husband is an old man. We called ourselves oldie weds when we got together.
Oh.
We carried all of our bags of crap into each other and dropped it on the floor and was like, all right, take it. But I grew up in a household, like 3 generations, excuse me, of strong women. And he was not prepared as a fellow from Alabama. Sorry, Alabama, I'm just saying. He'll say the same thing. He's like, they didn't have conversations. They didn't talk about how they were feeling. And as a man, he was right. And he in the very beginning was like, I don't know if this is going to work out. And I was like, well, all right, good luck.
Right.
But you could stay in this with me and it's going to be fun. Or you can be afraid and shrink away from it. And
Right.
he stayed in it and he's like, whoa,
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
all so much richer on this other side.
The guidance of taking somebody through it for the first time is especially if you talk to people who've never been there. So I say, I'm in the backseat of this car and I'm leaning forward. I'm like, tell me more. Like, and it's like, it's happening. Like, and it's such a fulfilling feeling for somebody on the other side. In like I said, such a healthy, cathartic way of like, let's do this together.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be fun. Believe it or not, there's going to be bumps and crevasses. There's going to be all kinds of crazy nonsense, but like, it's going to be so much fun.
Is it going to be painful?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, no. It's like, sorry.
I was going to say, I was like, I can relate. And then I was like, well, I'm not a man from Alabama, but
Yeah.
a woman from Chicago. But I oftentimes will just sit back and reflect and be like, wow, I was never destined to become a therapist based on the household I grew up in by any means. And the fact that I talk to people about their emotions all day, I'm like, no, like would never have pictured that for myself. But going through the therapeutic process myself, obviously, like I mentioned earlier, every single time there's this moment, and I think just to throw it out there for anybody who hasn't been to therapy yet, like there's this moment where you're sitting there and you see the choice to either say the thing, or just like fucking say it, or shove it back down. Every single time I have ever just said the thing, it's always worth it. Every single time, no matter how painful it is, no matter how like I'm sobbing while saying it or
Mhm.
whatever it is.
Mhm.
But every time there's this moment, and I'm so glad that I keep doing that, even though it's never easy, but
No.
it's simple. Just
Yeah.
say it. But
Yeah.
it takes a lot of courage and bravery, and it's hard,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really worth it. I
Mhm.
swear.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
so true.
It gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful that I have most of my life been comfortable. It has cost me a lot being a
Yes.
boy, being a man.
Yeah.
Because growing up, like that was the the uh the worst thing about me in my family. It was like the one thing that I was constantly scrutinized for and uh, criticized for my whole life.
Yeah.
And back then, I wanted so badly to be different. I wanted so badly to like be like every other boy or whatever
Mhm.
growing up. But it has such been a superpower. I feel
Totally.
like
Yeah.
that has led me to some of the most beautiful relationships and experiences. Just
Yeah.
like, and it has come to me much more easily than, I mean, I guess it did for a lot of my peers, or at least I pushed through anyways, I guess, because I don't know,
You're
I've always
badass.
been, because I'm badass. I've always been an emotional creature,
Yeah.
very in tune with my emotions in ways.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel bad for the other like men who haven't figured that out yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it is such a sign of strength and good for your hubby for locking in and
Yeah.
like joining you on
Mhm.
that journey.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about this. Oh, there's not anything that we don't talk
Yeah.
about,
Mm.
right? And I mean, it shouldn't be assigned a gender of talking
No, oh my
about
God, no.
No.
this, right? Like it is a conversation.
Right.
It's just a conversation.
Or in this case, age. It's like it
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter when you
That
start this
too.
journey.
Right.
That
Oh,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Just
doesn't matter
start
when you
it.
start. Just
Yeah.
start. And you will, it's like, it's one of those things that you'll know that, whenever your time is up, you just go, I did everything I could for myself and for others, and, in that kind of, grandiose, utopia type thing. But yeah, that you went on the exploration down the steep side of your own mountain, and figured it out as you go. One thing I will say is if we have any kind of closing notes, I want to take up all too much of your time.
Closing notes.
But it is thank you so much for having
In
this
the key of
incredible
G.
conversation. Yeah. But it is it's around about 3:30.
Oh, wow.
So time has flown. So I
has.
want to make sure that we kind of use this kind of moment to kind of talk about two things. This is kind of a nice little sign off that we do. One, from Echo Live side of things, what are some key resources? Where are you going to be during the festival season? And where can we find information as a working music industry professional? Can we, look to find all your information?
Okay.
Okay.
So one, I like to call Echo Live we're the bridge. Like we offer support with only 2 years of professional work, which is kind of a lot of other people, it'll be 5 or 6 years in or so many credits. So we are accessible at a very early stage in the career, which I'm very proud of because I mean, the more tools you have when you're starting out, the better
Mhm.
practices that you can have that feel sustainable. So Echo Live, ECCHO, echolive.com. And our resources are there and available to find anything about our days off, our networking nights, the fall workshop, the all access program. If you are a therapist or a coach out there that wants to be a part of this program and it's speaking to you, there's also a submission to be a clinician.
Mhm.
And then you get to talk to Lizzie more because she'll give you the follow-up to vet you.
I will.
But and then as far as you can see the festivals we're at, we have Bonnaroo and
Minnesota.
Lollapalooza and Minnesota.
Country Club, Yacht Club. Yeah, we have Bonnaroo upcoming. Then next we'll be at Minnesota Country Club, Minnesota Yacht Club. And we'll be at Lollapalooza. We'll be at Austin City Limits. We have a handful of others that are still getting confirmed still,
Sure.
but we'll
More to come,
most
yeah.
likely be at.
Mhm.
Yes. But it's all up on our website. Yeah. So ECC, double C, two C's.
2 C's.
ECCHOLIVE.
It's education, connection, community, health, and opportunity, which for us, so we're governed by a board of 20 people that are working within the industry in various parts. And we rebranded to encompass everyone in live events, but we really felt these 5 tenets are the tenets of where people need support in the industry.
The top 5 values.
It's not that we don't know how
What a
to
tie-in. Look at that
how to-
tie-in. Yeah.
Come on,
how
top
to
5
spell
values.
ECHO. It's that we give it an extra C
An
for
extra
make
C.
sure community and
Echo.
connection get their own.
I don't know if there's actually an
Echo.
echolive.com with just one C. I've never actually tested it out.
There is one out there.
Oh, shoot.
We misspelled it a couple times.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Cool. That's amazing. And then
Yeah.
Mason, I know you'd mentioned earlier you had some new music coming out, but
Yes.
where can people find you, your social media, your current music, and then do you have any kind of hint of a release yet, or
Let's see. So I
don't feel pressure to do so? I'm just saying.
Yeah. So it'll probably be within the next 2 months.
Okay.
I'm working on taking the cover photo right now. I'm super
Mhm.
excited about that. And then I'm already making plans to get back in the studio and work on my next singles leading up to my first project.
Amazing.
I'm very excited to announce that soon. You can find me on Instagram at Mason the letter J McClintock. So it's Mason J McClintock, but it's like just the letter J, not J-A-Y. And I'm on TikTok as Mason McTikTok.
Mason.
Because low key it kind of sounds like McClintock. So
Yeah, it does.
it's
That is good. That's a good piece of
Plan
branding. I like
words.
that.
There we go.
Mhm. Yep.
Also, a funny story. It got hacked, and I got it back.
Oh,
I got my
wow.
account.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
Wow.
So thank you.
That almost
to the
never
lovely
happens.
people.
It's
I-
like
oh my
it's
God,
done
I
at
know.
that point. Forget about it. Yeah.
I was, yeah, it was like 6-7 months past, and I was not able to get into it. And finally, I just kept badgering TikTok. I was like, I need my account back.
Mhm.
So I got it back.
Wow.
That's
Finally.
impressive.
But yeah, I'm on. I'm workshopping an artist's name,
Ooh.
so stay tuned for that as well. But
Mhm.
right now,
We're working
it's
on it.
Mason
We're working on it.
McClintock. That's me. It's my last name, McClintock, and you can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Amazon Music. Anywhere you stream music, you can find me. And my upcoming single, "What You're Missing," is gonna be out soon. So stay tuned for that as well. I'm really excited. I'm working on my website right now too. So I've got a lot of stuff happening.
Okay.
You're just controlling the domains at this point.
That's
You're coming in as
right.
like
That's
I need
right.
this, man.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Incredible.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
This is such a cool
This is
project, and it's very needed. And
We're trying.
It's been a really incredible afternoon getting to know all of you and
Exactly.
chat with y'all about
This
such
is
sweet stuff.
everything and more. Like,
Love
this
it.
is just so important. And I'm very, very excited to have gotten to be a part of this.
Thank you
Yeah.
for being a part of it.